Alright, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike. I am the Nightwing, Way of Life Esports, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. So, I have a few things I want to say before I actually start the video, is that me and JTH just started a brand new series where we are going to be practicing to cast League of Legends games. And actually, we are planning on making improvements to the overall segment that we plan on doing. As you guys know, I try to include like some of that, LCS, LEC, LPL, LCK feel. Watch a match, you cast over it. Before the game, you have a talk, and then after the game, you talk about the game. And after that, you guys seem to, kind of got to like it. I saw some pretty good views on it, so I was like, okay, they like it, let's continue it. And we're gonna be just casting over some solo queue games, and I just want to obviously try out some different things for you guys, and give you guys a little bit more because the channel has been growing, so I want to kind of keep a good level-headed range of content. You have mic conversations like they have with the competitive players. Then obviously League of Legends should be involvement with the channel in some type of way, because this is primarily League of Legends, so casting League of Legends games should be a must for a lot of new people who don't actually understand a lot of things. I think that the benefit of the series can actually be very good, so I'm really glad that we are able to do that for you guys. Also, I can't wait till the season starts. I can't wait to go back to the LCS, pick out a day, go back, vlog that trip, and then show you guys that too. So without further ado, that's pretty much the only announcement, and I'll just kind of run down what I said. Me and JTH just started a new League of Legends series for the channel, casting solo queue games, getting that feel you guys get when you watch the competitive games. You talk about the game before, cast the game, then you have your little segment after the game where you talk actually. And I'm going to be giving you guys more League of Legends content and talking about the teams that I want to actually talk about before the season starts, and get my opinions out there before the season actually starts. And also, my power rankings for the LCS will be coming up very, very soon. I wanted to make sure that my podcast group got their chance to get their ideas and opinions out there over me, because obviously I can talk to you guys every single day. They can't, and I didn't want, my opinions to influence theirs, and also vice versa. So they did a great job. And if you want to see what some of the guys think about the LCS, preseason power rankings, the podcast episode is on the channel, and you guys can go watch that actually. But today I'm going to be talking about the Dignitas NALCS Academy roster. And obviously, I would show you guys the entire roster, but when I open up that specific tab for anything involving Leaguepedia, it actually slows down my computer for some reason. I don't know why, but the roster that Dignitas Academy is taking, their academy roster, I am not kidding, this is their actual roster: Lorlo, Acadian, Demonte, Phoenix, and Ole. Now, that is probably going to shock all of you to a lot of decent extent, because there's so many years on all of these veteran LCS players. Each of them has had their varying degrees of success. Each of them have had highs and lows. Each of them has, almost came close to going to Worlds. Demonte, Ole, and they've obviously been to Worlds before. Acadian and Lorlo have also had their little, stints of having their highs. When Lorlo was on TL, his highest placement was in, like 2016 spring, where he got to the 3rd and 4th place match. Acadian literally just hit his peak, as what people are calling it, when he made the finals just last year with TSM. Then you have Demonte, who just went to Worlds last year. Ole just went to Worlds the previous year and won 2 splits. And then you have Phoenix, who's been, bouncing around from team to team. At one point, when he first started, he played on Jin Air. Like, it's really crazy, the amount of LCS veteran experience this roster actually has. And let me actually talk about the problems people actually have with the roster before I actually go into the roster itself. So people are always, talking about North America not developing any talent, always, recycling the same old players. Now, it's really hard to say, so I'm going to tackle both arguments, actually. So it's really not right to say that someone has peaked in their career at 21. Some of these players are only like 23 years old. To think that you can peak in your career at 23 years old is astonishing. And I think that only comes from people who don't actually have a job nor a career, so you don't actually know when someone can actually peak. People, normally men, don't really hit their prime up until about 27, 32 years old. Somewhere between that time frame is what I was told, where, men can obviously have their, prime and go through all their, great moments in their life. There's no way you're going to convince me that players of their age have already peaked at 21, 23 years old. That's ridiculous. But I do understand where people are coming from. We have seen these players already. Academy should be for new players. I think that as well. This year in Cloud9 Academy, the only recycled player that they actually have is Inori, because there was a new jungler they were actually going to go with, like a fresh new face to the scene, but I think he couldn't actually play for them because of some reason. I'm not really too sure. So they got a player you guys already know from way back in the day, from the 2017 spring Phoenix 1, Inori. Most people know Inori from Phoenix 1. And yes, Cloud9 is choosing to go with him as their academy jungler. Outside of that, they're playing relatively new faces no one really knows about. King was from Oceania. Most people know him by now from winning with Mammoth. But other than that, fresh new faces. And academy should be for new players. But you have to kind of factor in, what if this player actually is good enough to still compete on the LCS stage? Now, all of these narratives and all of these, ways of thinking really have so much convoluted stuff into it, though you must kind of understand how a career can pan out, how much a player was actually impactful on that specific team before he was let go. And I do understand where people are coming from. Academy should not be a place for basically washed up, recycled talent. Now, I think people use that term washed up a little bit too much than they actually know the meaning and reason behind it. Understand this. There's no way a person is washed up at 23 years old. That's just not possible. That's in any career. There's no way you are washed up at 23 years old. Now, I think people are confusing washed up with being actually pretty good, and that is two different things. You can be washed up, or you can actually be pretty good, or maybe you just haven't hit that correct team yet to really, advance your peak yet. Remember, Acadian just hit the finals last year in spring, just last year. He had been with Echo Fox 2017, you had Optic in 2018, and then just in 2019 he finally hit a finals. I think people are very quick to judge a lot of these veteran LCS players, but let's just say some of them might be a lot better than what you actually showed, because if you look at the scope of their careers, sometimes they were on bad teams, meaning that they could have obviously not been put in the best situation. What I'm saying by that is, being on a bad team is going to make you look bad no matter what, and I think people are taking that a little bit too literally. Some of these players were on such bad teams that, you weren't going to win anyway, and you have to give them the benefit of the doubt for that. Yes, you have to judge individual performances, but you also must judge something with their own gameplay. I like to judge their own gameplay, not what the team does. The team is going to function at some point. Each team will function differently, and you must also factor in each team will do something differently, panning out for the certain patch, panning out for the certain split, panning out, how they distribute the leadership roles and shot calling attributes. All of that is something that a team must decide. But an actual individual player, is where we have to kind of, you know, break down this, you know, Dignitas Academy roster, because that's where a lot of people are starting to question, why is this just a, you know, farm for, you know, former LCS pros? And understandably, for a lot of their cases, I do understand where people are also coming from, because, you know what I mean, North America can't find their caps. You know, we can't find a Caps, a Mickey X, a Chovy, a Faker. None of that if we keep doing what these people are doing. You know what I mean? But you factor in, you also have to, you know, at some point understand where these guys are coming from as well. These are veterans who've had success. So, well, I mean, beside Lorlo and Phoenix, but I mean, at some point in their career had decent success. So it's a very, very weird scenario. And some people said, why don't they just make another league for veteran LCS pros? That is stupid. Because the reason why that's stupid is because there's never going to be enough. You know, there's never going to be enough to supply that level league, and to create another league is a whole different discussion for another video. So that's already stupid. What I would personally do if these NA orgs want to run academy rosters and you want to have a few veterans, there's nothing wrong, in my own personal opinion, with having a few veterans. There's nothing wrong with that. But have like two veterans. Half of the rest of the team should be rookies. That way the veterans can teach the rookies and show them the ropes about how to play competitively. That's fine. I'll agree with that. Hey, if you have 2 veterans and 3 rookies, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and do that. I agree with that. Why? Because you have the veterans teach the rookies, and then you're introducing more fresh faces, and you have 2 familiar faces. That way, if the veteran grows up in their career and has another high hit point where they can be a lot better than what people remember, that's good. Maybe they get picked up, and then if you have the veterans train up the new players and then they get pretty good, okay, now you have more fresh faces into the league. And I think that's where people are misunderstanding mixing veterans with the new rookie LCS talent. You have to understand that, you know, you can't just throw all of these guys into one league, because there's just not enough of these veteran LCS players for one league. That's just never going to be the case. Now, looking at the Dignitas Academy roster, Lorlo, you know, when people say we've seen enough of this player to know what we're going to get out of these players, like known commodities, some of these players are actually known commodities. You know what I mean? Lorlo, people know how good Lorlo is by this point. He's been on TL, Echo Fox, Golden Guardians. We know how good Lorlo is. You know, how many more chances can a person get at the end of the day? Acadian, he just had a high last year of hitting, you know, the spring finals. So he's a little bit different, but he has had parts in the career where we kind of know what level of a jungler he is. But keep in mind, with Acadian's case, he's never really had a star team like TSM before, so maybe they made him look a lot better than he was. But he also played pretty bad at certain points. So these are 2 players that you know they're no commodities. Demonte is pretty new to the LCS. I don't know what people are thinking, saying, oh, well, you know, he shouldn't be given a chance. He's played like in 2018. Like, what? He literally, I didn't even count him starting in 2018. He barely started in 2018. Like, he started like week 7 in 2018 when the funnel meta was a thing. I don't really count Demonte's case. He should have been on an LCS team. You know what I mean? Like, he should have been on Evil Geniuses. I don't know where people get this smoke-loving crack out of their brains where you think that Jizuke at any point during last year was better than Demonte. What type of crack are you smoking? I'll wait, but it's okay. Demonte should be on a team. He should have been on Immortals. He should have been on, you know, he could have just stayed on Dignitas, but, you know, they have Froggen now. And people need to understand, orgs want to upgrade. Orgs want to upgrade their players and upgrade parts where they failed at last year. Demonte, for them, failed at Worlds. So, from an understandable standpoint, they'd want to upgrade in that position. I understand where they're coming from. You might not, because you choose to like people over having success, But I do not. I like players, but I also want success for other teams and my own orgs, G2 and Cloud9. I want them to be successful. But outside of liking somebody, and I think people do this way too often, you stop this liking person thing. It's really weird. Like, I'm not saying cringy, because it's human nature to like a player and want them to succeed. But if that person is kicked from a team, you have to take it from a team perspective. That person failed. Whether or not it was somebody else's fault or their own fault, it doesn't matter. That person failed. And you have to look at it from an org perspective. An org's perspective, they want to do better than the previous year. Every org wants to do that. Whether or not they're shitty orgs like FlyQuest and Fly Trash and Golden Garbage, it doesn't matter. They still want to do better than the previous year. So, from Dignitas' standpoint, after Worlds, their team went 0-6. Why would you keep him? I know, not all his fault. Org perspective, the team went 0-6. Get it? 0-6. Only, well, it's kind of funny though. Dignitas went 0-6 for NA. It feels so ironic in that sense, But I understand kicking him from an org perspective, but he's back on the roster. I think he's fine. I think he's a good player. You know what I mean? I think he deserves a shot at the LCS. He should have been on Evil Geniuses, Immortals, 100 Thieves, he should have had a shot over the other guys. Because we don't know his peak yet. He hasn't had a peak yet. He's gone to Worlds, but, they didn't have a shot anyway. So it's like, it's weird to say. His case is weird. I'll leave him kind of out of this. He's not really a problem. Phoenix role swapping to AD carry. Phoenix has played since the Jin Air days, back when it was called OGN. I've been watching that long. Okay, it's literally... Holy crap. I don't really understand it. I know people say, Phoenix is a really good laner. So is SOAS, but what does that really do? People always do that. Instead of saying someone's garbage, they just say, oh, he's a good laner. So you're saying he's bad. Being good at one thing means literally nothing. Come on, man. People are just, I hate people sometimes. They just irritate the freak out of me. But he's a good laner. Everything else he does is not that good. He was not a good mid laner. I literally called it last year. You can go back and watch previous videos with me and JTH talking. Is that I knew the Echo Fox roster was not going to work. Rush was already overrated. Phoenix was not going to work for them. Serviceable, whatever. That's serviceable and good don't really translate to success, and it usually just plummets down the fucking toilet. So Phoenix role swapping to ADC, who he switched to support. It really, I don't really know what to say about this. He could be great AD carry, who knows, but I'd prefer if they really just got a brand new guy. Honestly, we've seen Phoenix at this point. We have seen him. It's just gonna be, what's that thing people say? It's the same thing, yet it's told differently. It's like a movie where basically it's the exact same movie, yet it's just told differently. It's the same thing. I'm not saying he's gonna be a bad ADC. What I'm saying is, why didn't you just try out a new person? Phoenix has played literal years at this point. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And Ole's case is weird. Ole's been to Worlds. Ole's won championships. I just think that Golden Guardians wasn't really good for him, but he individually played bad though. I understand people want to make weird cases for people, and that's understandable for some players, but if you just individually play like shit, how are people that with reasonable thinking minds supposed to go yeah, that guy's LCS material? And then the pro player comes out and says some cockamamie bullshit, and you're saying, oh, this is why, team, coach, team, this, that. We're talking about this. Bro, that might all be true, but that still translated into one thing. Do you know what that one thing is? You played like shit. That's what people see. It's the number one thing. You playing. See, it'd be a different thing if we knew that they were really good players and all these things only kind of mattered based off circumstance and team, and the odds were stacked against them. But if you individually playing like trash, and he was playing individually bad for a while, it was a while. It's hard to say give that guy a chance. You might as well take the rookie. You might as well, because you literally just saw almost 2 full years of this guy not being that good. He was not that good on TL. He was not, actually. That's the reason why he didn't work on Golden Guardians, or reason why he didn't, because he wasn't already that good. And I think that the TL players were, pretty much making him look a lot better. And that's just how I saw it from my perspective. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Dignitas Academy, or for the Dignitas' LCS Academy Spring 2020 roster. I think it's the best Academy roster. I mean, if they don't win Academy, that just goes to show you how much dog shit either these people are, or how much better NA is getting. It could be a combination of both, honestly. But I don't agree with people saying, oh, a player can peak at 21, 23. That's stupid. That's literally stupid. People literally get their career started at 21. How can you peak at a career at 21? What is wrong with people? But I do agree with the other side of the argument saying NA should be having fresh new talent come up. What I'm saying from my Academy perspective is 2 veterans, 3 new players. Veterans teach the new players. You have more new players, which will outmatch the veterans. You bring up new faces, and then if the veteran chooses to revitalize his career at some point, maybe he starts playing like God Doinby level, perfect. He gets a team. Everybody wins. But having people need to understand, nobody really cares about winning Academy. I know who won Academy. I know who won the first Academy. Do you know who won the first Academy? FlyQuest Academy. You know how many people actually remember that? Nobody, because no one actually cares. But me, because I watch that kind of stuff. But FlyQuest Academy won, C9, TSM, 100 Thieves. 4 different orgs have won Academy. How many people actually care? This many people. This many people. Zero. Because it doesn't matter. I don't know why people try to win Academy. What's the point of it? You don't get anything. You don't really get anything. People laugh at you for winning. So, whatever. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. I just thought I'd give my 2 cents on it. A lot of people were spouting some horse shit over Reddit. I mean, Reddit's just I don't even want to talk about that place. But, yeah, I think it's not a bad roster. Is it an LCS level roster? If this was an LCS team, this shit is like 11th place. There's no... Bro, people, come on. Like... People are saying this would be like an 8th. This would be better than Cloud9. You're actually not even thinking. If you think this would be better than Cloud9's roster, your brain probably must be in the dumpster getting just destroyed by the trash breaking the trash can together. If you think any of this roster looks horrible compared to an LCS standard, Lorlo is like the 11th best top laner. Acadian, I'm not even going to go over that. This is stupid. They're not even better. They're like better than 1 team. Maybe 2 if I'm really being generous with you. If I'm really being generous, you're better than maybe 2 teams. But it doesn't matter. That's at the end of the day. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. More League of Legends content is coming, actually. I want to make sure I get all of my team discussions out of the way. My own power rankings out of the way. The best teams, I think, for the LCK, LPL, and... LEC, I want to actually have those out as well. And that's it. See you guys later. Bye. Have a good day. The Nightwing and Way of Life Esports is signing out.
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.